I'm Stan Larimer, president of Cryptonomics.
I'm Michael Taggart, and I am the founder of Remedio.com and co-founder of Heronomics.
And I am Toni Casserly. I am the co-founder of Cointelegraph.
Hi everyone, my name is Shehzad Bharwani, and I am the co-founder of FinTech Austin here in beautiful Austin, Texas. Today we've invited the industry leaders in digital currency to talk about cryptocurrency and blockchain.
ICOs have been happening consistently now, and for the last 6 to 12 months, there's just been a big uptick in them. I mean, everybody's starting to hear ICO.
Yeah.
Initial public offering is an IPO. An ICO is an initial coin offering. It's very much similar to it in that they're allowing people to then invest in a particular project.
And ICOs are people promising that you get a share of my company. Okay, and I'll give you have expectation that when my company goes up in value, that your coin will go up in value, just like playing the stock market.
Let's just look at it like this: a lot of companies are just looking to raise money. Unfortunately, with an IPO, there's a lot of legal regulations and loopholes are existing right now for people to do an ICO and raise that money without having to go through all of that regulation. Unfortunately, some people are taking it a little bit too far, and they're offering what some jurisdictions would call a security. And they're saying these are unregulated securities, these are not registered anywhere, and that's becoming a bit of a problem because there's been a rash of that. And so that's a big topic that's going on right now. And that's something that we're working on to solve so we can help the industry grow and innovate rather than be stifled by regulation and jurisdictions that have no idea what it is.
Capitalism is like a pyramid. And it's essentially that you consolidate the maximum amount of the resources, then you kind of let everything else trickle down. But the very idea of capitalism is based in so many ways on the idea of scarcity, not on the idea of shared prosperity. And if you think about a protocol, the way that it's designed and the way that people contribute, you have like server here and then node. And all of these nodes are participating and collaborating and contributing. And it's really a transition of the way we think about the distribution of resource in and of ourselves to allow people from all over the world to come together, to collaborate, to create value, and then once that value is created, to actually share in that value in a way that's equitable.
Well, the secret, I think, is to not just follow the crowd into ones that have already had their big gain, but instead look for undervalued assets. And when undervalued, that means ones that haven't had this big surge yet, but there's something compelling about them. Either you like what they stand for, or they have a competitive edge over somebody else. They have a really good development team with a good track record. These kind of things, and a good marketing campaign. You know, if they've got a good strategy to acquire new customers and new users, when you find the planets aligned with all of that on something that hasn't had its big pop yet, then that would be a good place to start. Interestingly enough,
I think, looking at where to invest in a cryptocurrency, I think about the exact same way as when I'm looking to invest in a company. I'm not just going to randomly, arbitrarily go into the market and just buy something without fully doing my research. Any project that seems interesting to me, I just go to CoinMarketCap, which is essentially the listing of every cryptocurrency that exists or that is made in the world and how much they're worth. And I'll click on the different things, like I'll look at the icons or I'll look at the names, and I'll just open up a million different tabs. And then I'll look at the way the markets are shaped, and I'll say, well, this looks interesting, and then I'll go to their homepage and I'll learn about the company. And when I learn about the company, I will always reach out and contact the founders directly. Every single time. If I can't get in touch with the founder of the company, and if I can't figure out how to do research into the team, I simply don't buy it because you can't trust it. So it's really, for me, at the end of the day, we're a human race. This is all about people. Life is all people. And so I have to get to know people before I can say I'm going to invest in this token in the same way that I would think about investing in a company. And if the founders, when I reach out to them and I say, well, okay, well, what is your token worth, or why is this valuable? If I can't get a real answer from the founders, then I'm like, okay, well, this tells me, if I call someone and they tell me they don't understand their own business, then I'm like, well, you know, what am I supposed to do here, right?
Here's what I know is that the BitShares blockchain in and of itself has had several companies that have launched using that blockchain, and these companies in the last 3 years are now worth a little bit over $1.6 billion within that 3-year period. What's also interesting about that is the BitShares blockchain is the most utilized blockchain in the world right now. It does more transactions than all of the other cryptocurrencies combined per day.
All of them combined per day?
Per day.
Wow.
And it has the ability to scale to handle literally all the world's financial transactions.
Right, that's a good point, because it does have a lot of industrial, commercial applications.
Right. Wow. What we see right now with Bitcoin is the network is saturated, and so they have to ration it by raising the price, maybe $4 to send a transaction versus 3 cents. So how does Bitcoin grow to the next bigger levels? Well, only by charging more. It gets saturated. When you go to BitShares, you've suddenly got lots of bandwidth to do lots more stuff. Lots more customers can come in and use it.
Right.
And I think you get the ability to grow to full-scale global operations.
So what I'm really interested in right now, and I think at the stage of the ecosystem, it's really about looking at infrastructure, right? Like if you had the choice, would you invest in Apple? Or would you invest in an app that Apple built on the App Store, right? Like in early days, you'd obviously invest in Apple. And so we're at that stage right now of the ecosystem where we're actually constructing these marketplaces of marketplaces where other people can come and they can build solutions on top of a core layer of infrastructure that's being created to enable dApps, which are decentralized applications. So one thing to just throw out there that is pretty interesting is EOS. So EOS has been called like the Ethereum for the East kind of thing. And
so when you say EOS, it's EOS?
EOS, yeah.
EOS.io.
Yeah.
EOS.io. Yeah. Okay, awesome. All right, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No doubt. So it's, EOS.io, and they are a marketplace of marketplaces. Okay. And what's really cool is that because it's so new, they're doing a year-long launch of this thing. Okay. And because it's so new, I mean, the price is less than $1.
And they're releasing, what, 2 million coins a day?
Yes.
I think for another like 200-something days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to point out one other thing, too, is that EOS actually was launched off of the BitShares blockchain.
Okay.
Right? So it's actually, it started from that blockchain and has been, it's being coded out and everything like that off of that. So that's another, you know, what's great about EOS is a couple of different things. It's the first blockchain-based operating system. Most blockchains cannot communicate with each other. They're not interoperable. What EOS is going to do is make it so that those blockchains, if they choose to, if they want to, can interoperable and can talk to each other, and it will tie them all in. So that's another example of a technology that's coming out that right now is undervalued because they're still launching, right? And so you're able to get in on the launch or even the secondary market, where I believe firmly that this is going to be a game changer in this industry.
Right.
And it's also, what's interesting about that, it's also by the same team that's done some of these other innovative breakthroughs in this industry, which is the first social media platform that's built fully on a blockchain, which is pretty, I mean, that was groundbreaking.
That's called Steemit.
That's called Steemit, and that launched last year, officially on the 4th of July, I believe. Nice. You know, right? Independence Day for humanity, right? Because it was a new collaborative economy and social media platform, right? Steemit is also in one of the top 10,000 websites that's trafficked right now.
Really?
And and
already from July 4th.
Already from July 4th.
Wow.
And what I believe you're going to see is a mass exodus of traditional social media over to platforms like that, because they actually reward the users to create content and to actually interact with each other and curate each other's content and comment on it and things like that. So it's these types of technologies, again, all of these are built on the BitShares blockchain or offshot off of that, that are making waves and doing things that are completely different, not just a token that's just exchanged around that has some sort of arbitrary value.
So let me tie it all together for you.
Yeah, okay? Absolutely, please.
At the operating system level, like where Windows or Mac OS or Linux might be, sits EOS.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is something that can tie lots of other platforms together and give you unlimited scalability.
Right.
Then, mounted on top of these, in the coming year when EOS is ready, BitShares will move on top of there and pick up unlimited scalability.
Right.
That share exchange, and it has all of its own interesting projects, all kinds of designer coins, smart coins, interesting stuff. And then we just talked about Steemit. Steemit could move on to there too. EOS is the only thing that could possibly host something like BitShares or Steemit. That's how much more powerful it is. And then there's another thing called Peer Plays, which is for gaming, real-time interactive gaming. So all these have one thing in common: real-time action. It doesn't take 10 minutes or an hour to do a transaction. Things happens in seconds. And each of these technologies, whether you're doing trading or whether you're talking with somebody on a social media platform or whether you're playing a game, needs that technology. That whole family is, to me, an outstanding investment, and you can pick whichever one you like and get involved that way.
So that's amazing, guys. I want to thank you guys for showing up, doing this interview. I hope you guys learned something, because I definitely did.